Hi guys, welcome to another video. So this is Charlie from Most Gaming Systems, looking for the best PC price you so you don't have to. So in this video, we're going to talk about the 9060 XT. The reviews are out for the 9060 XT 16GB. I'm guessing that for the 8GB card, the review should be out either tomorrow or the following day because it is a worse card and AMD probably knows that. That's why they put the review embargo date later. So generally the reviews are not too bad. So in this is screenshots from Hardware Unbox's review. So I will link all the reviews that I know of from the various YouTubers for the 9060 XT, so you can click on those links and check out their individual reviews. Basically, from Hardware Unbox, they found that on average, the 5060 Ti and the 9060 XT, both the 16GB cards, trade blows. So the 9060 XT loses out slightly compared to the 5060 Ti 16GB card in 1080p, just like a few percentage points. In terms of 1440p, they would be more comparable. Let me try and lift that up. This is 1080p. Where's the 1440p one? Yeah, so this is in 1440p. 9060 XT just loses out on average by 1 FPS compared to the 5060 Ti 16GB. And then I believe in ray tracing, ray tracing 1080p. 5060 Ti 16GB beats out the 9060 XT by a bigger margin by about 15-16 FPS. So that is significantly, I think, about close to 20% difference. So the NVIDIA card is better when it comes to purely ray tracing titles. But if you're looking at rasterized performance, the 9060 XT 16GB, it's around there. So now comes the price, because in I think my previous shot I talked about budget NVIDIA GPUs. Budget meaning that 60 series card, 5060, 5060 Ti. But if you look at the pricing I have on my price deals list, cheapest 5060 8GB is at $459. Cheapest 5060 Ti 8GB is at $565, $100 more. And then cheapest 5060 Ti 16GB is another $100 more at 645 Sing dollars. So at these prices is not really a budget card. These are the price for a mid-tier card. Like my 2070, which I bought like, I don't know, 6 years ago, costs roughly about 500 to 600 Sing dollars. So that was the price of, this is the price of a mid-tier card. But now it's considered the budget card. So I mentioned in my previous videos is that if you're buying in this price range, you're prepared to shell out like 500 to 600 Sing dollars for a new graphics card. Might as well go buy used. Look for 6800 XTs used. You can get them for less than 500 Sing dollars. Maybe you might need to do some servicing for it, like I might need to dismantle it, do a repaste, and then after repasting, the card will be as good as new. It will perform better than a 5060 Ti, for example, and it has enough VRAM, 16GB, and it can probably last you for quite a few years because of that larger VRAM buffer. So if you're talking about the 9060 XT, since it performs similarly to the 5060 Ti, what about the price? So in my price updates video, I talked about Bisgram Asia so-called leaking the price. They included the price of the Sapphire cards for the 8GB version as well as the 16GB version in their price list. So the cheapest 8GB 9060 XT is $499, but probably don't want to buy that. You should avoid that like a plague, because 8GB is not enough for modern games. If you're looking at the 16GB version, it's at 569 Sing dollars. So 569 compared to the 16GB 5060 Ti, cheapest I can find is at 645. So it's about an 80 to 100 Sing dollar price difference. So this price difference, if we're talking about similar FPS, right? So in this FPS, I put the 9060 XT to be about 1 to 2 FPS less than the 5060 Ti because they are both relatively similar. And the 9060 XT 8GB, I put it about 2 FPS below the 8GB version of the 5060 Ti. Of course, I don't know what the actual review is, what the actual result is, but I can make an educated guess based on how the 9060 XT 16GB has been reviewed and performed. So it should be very similar to the 5060 Ti 8GB card, but it should lose out in a little bit. So since with those numbers in mind, if we use those numbers and we extrapolate it and get a cost per frame, you will see that at $569, the 9060 XT 16GB is $9.48 per frame. Sing dollars per frame. And that is actually comparable to our best value GPU, the B580, at $9.23 Sing dollars per frame. So actually it's really good. So it's almost the same value as the B580. A bit, of course, it is still above MSRP, 15 and 18% above MSRP. But if you look at like the 5060 Ti, even though the 5060 Ti cards as well as the 5060 is nearer to its MSRP is higher because 5060 Ti 16GB is priced 430 USD compared to the 350 of the 9060 XT. So since MSRP is higher, even though it's closer to its MSRP, it's still more expensive than the AMD card. So, but anyway, yeah, I digress. So we're talking about cost per frame. 5060 Ti is like $10.50 per frame for Sing dollars. 5060 Ti 8GB is even worse, $11.3 per frame, and the 5060 is also worse as well, $11.47 per frame. So if you're talking about cost per frame, still, yeah, the best cost per frame one in my chart here will probably be the 9060 XT 16GB if you can get it at 569. B580 is good value, but it's lower in performance because it actually loses out in performance to all the cards here. Yeah, it loses out. It will probably B580 will lose out in FPS even to the 8GB versions of the 9060 XT, except in scenarios whereby it's VRAM limited for the 8GB cards. So, I mean, the other best value card here will be the 5070, but take note the 5070, it's a cool 800 Sing dollars, 809, and that is the cheapest one from the techyard.com. Once that is sold out, the rest of the 5070s are selling for about 870, 860 is closer to about 900 Sing dollars. Then, so that percentage over MSRP will start to jump up a lot. Yeah, I mean, yep. So anyway, so that's it for the 9060 XT 16GB. It is the best value brand new card that is currently out in the market. If you can get it for 569, if you can't get it for 569, I would advise not getting it at all. Just go to the used market and try to buy used cards. Like you can get used 3080s. I think the 3080s 12GB cards are pretty expensive, but you can get 6800 and 6800 XTs 16GB cards for well under comfortably under 500 Sing dollars, so that is a pretty good deal there, and they will perform better than the 9060 XT 16GB because yeah, they have more cores and stuff like that. So there's that. Any other used deals you can get? The 3080 10GB actually are not aging so well because of that. No, they have 6GB less in VRAM. I've seen the 3080 Ti like 12GB at the 3080 Ti 12GB cards, and their resale price is not nice. I think they're priced about 700 Sing dollars. So that is actually more expensive than the 9060 XT here. So that's not a fair deal. Yeah, so the 6800 XTs are still the best deal in the used market. So I will go get those. But you will probably need some servicing. If you're buying a used card from Carousell like 6800 XT, like what I recommended, you'll probably have to dismantle it and do a reapplication of the thermal paste yourself so that it can perform as new, because the card has been out for about 3 to 4 years. So the paste has probably dried up. You will need a repaste. All right, so that's that for the 9060 XT. Currently 9060 XT 16GB, the best brand new value card, best value brand new card. If you can't get it at the price that I've seen here at 569, then go and get a used card. All right, and we will see you guys in the next video.